Exciting. Tell us a little bit about Volunteer Frontier, the organization.
Well, Volunteer Frontier is all about helping nonprofits and government to think more strategically about how they can engage volunteers to meet their own bottom line efforts to do more mission.
Excellent.
And many nonprofits are doing great work in engaging volunteers. But what the report and what we're finding out and what my organization is all about is helping these organizations to do more in terms of leader volunteers and skilled volunteers. There's just so much skill and talent out there, Glenn, that can be leveraged in a strategic way.
Sure, and I would bet that's even more important with challenging economic times, to leverage all of the support you can for your organization. Have you seen changes in volunteer engagement since the recession, or has it maintained?
Well, it's interesting. Yeah, if you look nationally, the reports that I'm reading are showing that indeed there have been staff reductions, and simply many nonprofits are having to make that turn. The challenge comes in that there's always been an area of friction sometimes between staff and volunteers, and the importance is that this is not about displacing staff. We need staff in nonprofits to be effective, but really more a model of saying, what is the human resource that we have across in our community that we can leverage to help the staff do a better job and to involve volunteers in being part of that solution.
And increase those outcomes
exactly
for the organization and the community. That's fantastic. So talk about the report. It was really exciting, and we were honored to partner with you to get this great work documented and to have a report that we can share with others for those best practices. What were some of the findings?
Well, you know, one of the main findings is that volunteering really needs to be integrated throughout a nonprofit, not just in one area. And I think that's part of the history of volunteering has been that it's often been in one area and it hasn't transcended throughout the entire organization. And the really successful nonprofits, Glenn, have been able to think of volunteers as well as being donors, major stakeholders, social media advocates, and doing all of that, and not pegging volunteers in one place.
And can you share then, because obviously you covered a number of organizations in the report, our members, can you share one key story of how volunteers were leveraged for an organization that really made a difference?
Oh, I certainly can. One of the organizations that we talked about was Little Lights Urban Ministries.
Oh, great!
And they are a great organization. And here's a bottom line situation: was because they had such close relationship with their volunteers and stakeholders. You know, you probably talked about the Give to the Max campaign. They were the leading organization.
That was fantastic.
Amazing. So they basically had over 700 volunteers who contributed, individuals who contributed over $36,000.
That was amazing.
Were they looking for that? No. It's just that those were people that love that organization. And the other thing that's interesting about them is that they draw the connection. Their volunteer coordinator works very closely with the development office. And so there's that connecting together of, this is somebody who's been volunteering, let's make sure to get them on the donor list. People want to help in a variety of different ways. Make it happen for them.
Right. No, that's a great story, and I think you raise a really good point. Cultivating folks from volunteer engagement to donors to board members, etc. Were there other organizations that were able to do that? Many
organizations. Most of them see volunteers as people, not as volunteers.
Right.
Yeah.
That's very good. So anything that you realized from the study that you were disappointed in, things that you would have liked to see more of? Was there anything from that perspective?
Oh yeah, I think the biggest challenge in the field, and I understand if you're an executive director or senior management person out there, is show me the real concrete before and after.
Okay.
And I really tried to find that, and to some degree we were able to show increase in revenue or increase in service delivery, but it's hard to do that. And that's the piece. We need more stories, more case studies like this, Glenn, to highlight it. There's a business case. Volunteering in organizations is not a nice add-on. It's something that really will deliver.
Right.
and it's a very strategic investment in the future.
And is there an average length of time that you've seen that one individual volunteer is engaged with an organization? I know it runs the gamut. It could be a day or an hour or a year. But what's the norm? What do you normally see?
Well, the research shows that most volunteers last 3 years,
Okay.
which interestingly is about the same for nonprofits as their staff members.
Wow.
Most staff members turn over in about 3 years. And so the issue that just for staff is similar to volunteers is how do we retain those folks?
Right.
How do we keep people? Because when we lose good volunteers and staff, we've lost a lot of all the training and the investment that we put into folks. So it's human resources management, really, in keeping people involved.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I know we're going to go deeper in our third segment. We'll have you on and we'll talk even more about the report, so I'm looking forward to that.
Good.
This is fantastic. I'm sure our viewers are picking up a ton of tips already. Coming up, we're going to meet Lily Fisher, Director of Community Engagement for Iona Senior Services.